Hello everyone, my name is Dorian and welcome to a very special track guide with the BMW M4 GT3. We are practicing for Bathurst Mount Panorama 12-hour race, and I'm going to show you guys 3 laps this time. We're going to have a race lap on cold weather, race lap on warm weather, and a qualifying lap that I'm going to show you guys right at the end. Now the race lap, the second one, with the warm weather is the one I'm going to do the track guide on because that's more representative of the type of temperatures you'll have throughout the race. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you think and hop over to my Discord. There's a link in the description below. Let's get on the track. Okay, so we're coming up to turn number 1. Let's look for a braking point. We have the 100 here, and we have the light pole just past it. That will be our braking marker. So as we cross it, as it kind of disappears from my field of view, I know it's time to make the commitment and start braking. Braking very hard from 4th all the way down into 2nd. As soon as I cross the 50 here on the right, you're going to see me starting to bleed off the brakes a little bit more. All the way down to 2nd, while I'm 2nd gear, no more than 50%, and I'm gonna keep bleeding off all the way into trail braking, trying to make sure the car hits this piece of camber right here. That's what's gonna allow us to have a good exit. As soon as I reach it, I know the car is safe, and I'm going back to the power shifting all the way to the rear, getting a lot of traction on the exit, around 70-80%, till I know I'm clear and I can open up the wheel, and then back to 100%. Slowly, lazily, taking it to the outside here and up to 3rd. Immediately lining up the car to the left. Take us through this straight. And that's going to bring us to turn number 2. Our braking point is slightly before this access route. When it's cold, I'm going to brake slightly after, right at it. But when it's this hot, slightly before. Round, let's see, we're braking all the way from 5th gear, around 60% pressure. There's 2 main reasons. One, again, we don't want to ride the ABS into the corner. And the second is you're going uphill. You don't have to brake as hard. Downshifting into 3rd, starting to turn in now. And I'm going to look to trail brake into the dip here. Exactly where this camber is. Because that's, again, going to help us accelerate very strongly throughout the corner. So immediately to 50, a little bit of hesitation back to 100. I should have hesitated a little while longer because I was a bit aggressive. It washed me to the outside a little too much, so I had to lift here, as you can see. And if it wasn't for that early aggression, I would have been able to keep it flat throughout this corner, maybe gain about half a tenth, maybe a tenth. Taking the car all the way to the outside. You want to try to avoid going all the way to the outside. It's good that if you put your left wheel right around here, your left side of the car. This is a little too close for comfort. Now, I'm gonna line the car up so I can take this as an early apex, this corner right here. And I'm already gonna lift off the throttle as I do that. I'm not gonna brake just yet because I am turning in pretty hard. Just leaving a little bit of throttle to maintain the stability, and it's all about maintaining stability throughout this braking point. So as soon as I cross the first apex, I'm gonna straighten out the wheel and start braking, because what I want to do is brake diagonally to the outside. As you can see, little corrections, but all in all, pretty straight wheel, 50% pressure and bleeding it off. Then the car go to the outside. I don't want to go all the way to the outside, slightly to the right of the middle, I would say is like a good point to turn in from. So trail braking right now. Trying to turn in the car, and I'm almost gonna overshoot into the wall here because I want to put the left side of the car past this white line. That's your indication you're taking a healthy, fast line here. So I want to kind of overshoot into the corner and let the throttle sort of steer me away from it. So I got the left side of the car planted to the left of this white line. I'm taking a nice short route, and I have tons and tons of rubber and camber here that can be very aggressive with the throttle throughout this corner, not only on the exit. So I'm already carrying good speed, and I have plenty of room on the outside to have a safe exit. I can open up the wheel very early. So you can see I'm even correcting the rear end just a little bit to make sure it doesn't slide out. Staying in 2nd for a little while longer until I hit this curb. As I hit this curb, upshift into 3rd, staying on the inside. You can take it slightly wider. I just find it to be very predictable if you do that. Let the car go wide here to the left of the white line. And from this point, I'm just gonna be as smooth and gentle as I can with the wheel and the pedals as well. Short shifting at this point, almost short shifting into 4th gear, and a tiny lift. The better you take this corner, the less you're gonna have to lift. If you take it too late, you're gonna have to lift on the exit. Too early, you're gonna have to kind of lift on entry. So the perfect timing here is to just stay flat any weather. But under draft, I'm not entirely certain. I need more practice to make that determination. So you really want to test that for yourself when you're drafting people. But when you're on your own, you can always take it flat if you just nail that entry point. Fourth gear, all the way to the outside, hugging the wall, the Fujitsu wall here. And I'm going to take the car to the middle of the track. I'm not going to try to clip this first apex too much. I'm going to sort of stay in the middle. As you can see, as soon as I cross it, I'm going to start opening up the wheel and letting the car go to the outside. Right here. I want the car to be as wide as possible for the next corner. So I want to hug this wall, this Etihad wall. And I'm going to upshift into 5th. Right at this point. Right as I kind of enter the corner. You can see I'm lifting on entry here. Just to get some rotation done early. I want to hug this curb the whole way through. I don't necessarily want to mount it too much, just hug it. I'm lifting to around 50%, 5th gear, and then slowly back on the power. So around 60, 70, 80%, and only now, as I completely clear this curb on the inside, am I going back to 100%. Letting the car again go all the way to the outside. A little bit of a wiggle here. I had to kind of save it. It does get tricky if you want to run low down force setups. And we have this curb. This will be our indication on when we need to lift. So slightly before it, you can see I'm starting to lift. And to be more consistent here and not lean on the tires as much, a dab of the brakes, just a little bit, just to put a little bit of pressure without scrubbing off speed. And that will just make the turn in here a lot easier. And as the car turns in, this car really rotates well under power. So I'm already going to return to the throttle very early to rotate it to make sure I don't understeer on the exit. Now it's very easy to carry too much speed or be too aggressive with that, but that's sort of the line that you want to do. And I'm going to keep turning it in now into the apex, be as close to it as I dare. That's just the line I like taking here. And letting the car run wide, very gentle, very lazy with the wheel. Opening it up slightly, letting the car go wide, 4-wheel drifting on the exit a little bit, and keeping it flat the whole way through. Now, going here to the left, there is a braking point here, it seems. I've just discovered, I've never looked at it before, but this black patch here, that could be a good indication to when you want to start braking or lifting on the entry here. I'm not sure you can see it at night, but during the day, if you just want a marker, I'll let you know what you need to do. This is the one. Now, let's go over this set of corners twice. Once, I just want you guys to look at the pedals. That's the most important thing. And then we'll go over the lines. So I'm just going to take it slow. As you can see, I'm never releasing both pedals here on the entry. And the reason behind that is the more steering I need, the less throttle I'll give it. The more stability I need, the more throttle I'll give it. But I need to brake. So I'm going to brake and I'm going to slow the car down. And if it's over rotating, I'm going to give it more throttle. If it's under rotating, I'm going to reduce the throttle. That's what I'm going to do all the way into this apex. And at this point, usually you shouldn't have to put any more throttle in the car. It should be stable enough. If not, just keep doing it till the car stabilizes. Sometimes you kind of overshoot and that can really save the car. So get used to kind of hitting the throttle a little bit on the entry here all the way throughout this downhill section. And you know, try to mitigate that over time and use less and less so you'll carry the most amount of speed throughout the corner. That's kind of my trick. Now in terms of where you want to place the car, I'm basically betting on the fact that this wall is going to end soon, or else I'm just gonna hit it. I'm aiming towards this part of the wall right here. Trying to be as straight as I can here, straight as an arrow, because I need to do a lot of braking still. And as I turn in left, and I want to mount this curb nicely all the way into the green part, it's going to rotate me. I'm going to release a lot of the brakes to make sure the car doesn't snap. And as I straighten out the wheel, more braking again to around 40%. Downshifting into second. And just planting the car next to the wall here nicely. That will give you a nice short route and plenty of rubber to a point where you can actually accelerate again just before the braking point. So I'm putting about 80% throttle just for a short period of time. Straighten out the wheel, braking again. Not a hard braking point. I would say 40%, 35% peak, but releasing very quickly. And the reason I'm releasing quickly is because I'm already about to hit this wall. And again, the throttle's gonna save me. Throttle's gonna take me on to the outside, and look at her how early it is. You can see the car is dipping down. As soon as it does that, I'm gonna start slamming the rear. And there's two reasons for that. Obviously, you want to accelerate as quickly as possible out of this corner. The second is to quickly and aggressively shift the weight to the rear so the back end doesn't snap out on the exit. So I want to put as much weight on the rear as early as possible here so the car just doesn't snap. And I'm going to open up the wheel very quickly because I have all that pressure on the rear. It's not going to snap on me. And plug in this apex nicely for a nice clean line on the exit up to third gear. And let's taking the car to the left. As soon as I finish turning left, look at the wheel input right here. As soon as I finish turning left, I'm gonna start lifting. So I'm just gonna put the car nice and straight, and that's where I'm gonna do the braking. So lifting a little bit, tiny bit of braking. Very hesitant here with the braking because you don't want to really slam down the brakes before you have a straight car after the corner. 30%, 10%, little dips here and there. Downshifting into third. I got a nice line here. I got the car to the right. So I'm going to start braking way harder. Around 50, 60%. Downshifting into second. Now, it's such a hot track that I had to downshift into first to get the rotation down. Not very good for tires, and it can be inconsistent at times. It won't turn in, or it'll turn in too hard. You'll spin the car or whatever. You want to try to avoid it and keep it in second throughout, especially in better weather. But 43 Celsius, kind of hard for me to rotate the car, so I improvised right on the spot. This isn't my usual line. I will try to take it in second. But first is there for you. Practice it a little bit. It might make your life a little bit easier if you're struggling to turn in the car here. But definitely don't accelerate out in first. So I'll show you that in a second. So 50%. I'm not trying to turn in too early. As you can see, I'm kind of staying on the right here. And I'm actually still correcting to the right because the back end still wants to kick out. And I'm widening my approach, the arch here. So I won't have to hug the wall on the inside the whole way through. I just want to hug it late, or relatively late. So first gear really gave me a bunch of turn in here, and I'll show you my apex in a second. This is my apex. This is where I already want to be on the power in second gear. So as soon as I can see the car is turning into that direction, I'm gonna commit in second gear to full throttle. Slamming it, absolutely slamming it, because as the car kind of dips down there where the apex is, it's gonna have a tendency to rotate. So you want that pressure on the rear wheels. The car is just gonna stick, take you all the way to the outside, and you're through. Whew. Okay, so definitely go to the left here, just to widen your approach. Now, bad weather. And I'm not trying to save fuel, so my braking point is very late here. It's actually my brake pressure, I would say. The braking point is fine, but the brake pressure is actually very high. I wouldn't recommend using this much brake pressure. If you're drafting, if you're trying to save fuel, try to lift right around here, or maybe slightly before that, and just coast and brake just a tiny bit after the 150. If you're going flat out, brake at the 150. And yeah, you know, if you coast here, you won't have to brake as much. That's my point, I guess. 90% pressure, 80% pressure, downshifting very quickly. Staying on the right, so you can see the 50 board and me are friends. We are close to each other. I'm not trying to steer away from it at any point. I'm trying to turn in as late as I can without missing the apex. All the way down into second gear, cold weather, third gear works better. Throttle braking all the way into the apex. Flipping just a tiny bit of that curb. You don't have to. And already back on the power. You can see around 80-90%. Slamming it back to 100. I lost all my speed there, so I can just accelerate very strongly. You do want to carry more mid-corner speed here than I have, but because I was leaning on the ABS so much, I kind of lost a little bit of my turn-in. That's the play that you have here with this car, and especially in GT3s. Now, we have the 100. That's our braking point, pretty much always. Braking pretty hard, around 70% I would say. Bleeding it off. Past the 50, I'm going to bleed it off some more. All the way down to second gear. And again, I'm trying to turn in late here. Might have stayed on the brakes for a little too long because I was having a little bit of understeer here. Usually I want to be just a tiny bit tighter here. Just a little bit closer to the line, but that was close enough. I was carrying actually a pretty decent amount of mid-corner speed, around 91 kilometers an hour, before I went back to the power. Second gear, look at how aggressive it is. Almost 100% right off the bat as I'm clear and I know I'm safe, back to 100. And that'll take us to the end of the lap, which is a 2:04.450. I just wanted to mention that I'm vibing pretty hard with this car. I'm enjoying the driving aspect more than I ever have in iRacing GT3s. And I think it's because the layout is just right and the car is competitive, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. So if you guys want to see more content that is similar to this, track guides, you know, GT3 stuff, races, whatever, let me know. Let me know in the comments or in my Discord channel. There's a link in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed this track guide so far. I'm just going to show you guys the qualifying lap. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That means a lot. And yeah, always let me know what you guys are thinking. If you have any video ideas, whatever, I'm always down to hear it. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.